So ever since the Marvel vs. Capcom Arcade Classics collection has released, we've been getting a lot more product that is definitely supposed to be for these games. There's a legally distinct Marvel Legends line that is supposed to be Marvel vs. Capcom, and we can all tell. Storm Collectibles has a new scale with Storm Arena that actually matches the Marvel Legends size. And we got a reprint of the art book by Udon that now adds in additional material from Marvel Infinite and the Arcade Classics collection. So there's been a lot of love for Marvel vs. Capcom as of late. I think it's time to update the Marvel vs. Capcom action figure rosters in 6-inch form.
Ready?
Hello, this is Soundout here, and on today's video we're talking about Marvel vs. Capcom and if we can fill out the rosters of all the classic games in 6-inch action figure form. This is a sequel to a video I did about a year ago where I did the same thing. I went through all the Marvel Legends, all the other Capcom figures, and started filling in the rosters. Now, in the last year, like I alluded to in the intro, we've gotten a lot of stuff. Storm Arena has come up, the Gamerverse line in Marvel Legends giving us Capcom-specific looks. There's been a lot going on, so there's a lot to update on for these rosters. And we can kind of see if we've gotten any closer to getting completion. Now, we will be going over the entire rosters once again. I'm going to add in some corrections and some updates. I know people mentioned the boss characters I left out last time. I'm going to include them this time. So we'll be going through it all again. We'll be starting with the Punisher game, because that was the first Capcom Marvel game, and we'll be going all the way through Marvel vs. Capcom 2, because that's basically the games in the classic collection. Marvel 3 will require its own dedicated video, and I said that a year ago and I still haven't done it because that one's really hard, particularly with the Capcom side, and with the Marvel side even, because a lot of Marvel Legends kind of skew 90s, and a lot of the looks in the Marvel 3 are 2010s and early 2000s, and there's not a ton of Marvel Legends for that, so we'll come back around to that one in the future. So once again, we're going to be doing 6-inch scale only, and we're going to be going for approximations with guys like Mega Man. We'll talk about that when we get to them. We're going to be going with the newest figure for that specific costume or look. So for example, Cyclops, there have been other Chun-Li style Cyclops that you could use. We're just going to go with the X-Men 97 one because that's the most recent one that's come out. We're also going to try to keep it to the last 10 years, kind of localize it a little bit. That way we're not dipping into things that are too old, but I will mention a couple examples here and there that might be a little helpful. So if you enjoy these videos, be sure to hit the like button, and that way YouTube knows and I know that you enjoyed it, and hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads on the channel. There's lots of really cool stuff coming up in the very near future, so you don't want to miss out. But let's begin. I think we should talk about the two new things that introduced, which was the Marvel Gamerverse line that not only covers Marvel Legends, but SH Figure Arts, and the Storm Arena line, which is starting to give us more options for the Capcom side. So the Marvel Gamerverse line is definitely interesting for several reasons. So first of all, the first time we saw Gamerverse applied to Marvel vs. Capcom in the modern day would be these Marvel Legends figures. These are not all of them. There was actually a ton. There's an anniversary slot in the Marvel Legends line every year, and this year they took it to be Marvel vs. Capcom. Now that being said, let's take a look at the boxes because they're not exactly Marvel vs. Capcom branded. Yes, it says Marvel's Juggernaut, it says Marvel Legends Gamerverse, but that backdrop, that sprite design, that screen that just looks like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, yeah, there's no hiding the fact that all of these are supposed to be their Capcom versions. Even the Punisher set has the backdrop from the Punisher beat 'em up, and even the character select screen on the back. It is new artwork, so like legally, these aren't Marvel vs. Capcom, but so clearly they are, right? Like there's no doubt in my mind what these are supposed to be, and pretty much everyone can spot them from the jump. So yeah, they're not branded with any Capcom imagery. That's specifically, I think, to keep licensing. But then there's other, you look at the figures and it's like, okay, Psylocke is definitely like, that could be comic Psylocke in a lot of ways. But then you look at Wolverine and that is 100% the Bendis Wolverine from the Capcom games. The proportions, the height, all that is, 100% that game. And those two are brand new molds. Juggernaut's a brand new mold that's much larger. Punisher is using existing parts, but that blue color and the fact he comes with Nick Fury, that's definitely supposed to be Capcom Punisher. Some of them are more subtle, like Omega Red, but they gave him an entirely new harness to match him to the games. Of course, Blue Venom. What is more Marvel vs. Capcom than Blue Venom? This also extends to the new line of Gamerverse Marvel SH Figure Arts, which includes Cyclops, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. Now, Cyclops is out. I don't have mine yet. but Spider-Man's got some legal issues in parts of Asia, I believe. So, you know, availability may vary for the SH Figuarts, but those are also 100% meant to be the Capcom versions of the characters. There is no hiding that, that's for sure. So this has expanded our rosters significantly, and there's a lot of cool surprises. And I will talk about which figures came with what, because like I showed, they're all in 2-packs, so I will mention that when we introduce the figures. So ever since Storm Collectibles started making fighting game figures, they made them in this large, big scale. I don't even know what official scale this is supposed to be, but this is the size of Storm Collectibles. And I'd mentioned previously that the Storm Collectibles Morrigan was not going to work in a Marvel vs. Capcom display because there's Cyclops. As you can see, the Storm Collectibles figures are gigantic in their normal size. But Storm Collectibles recently introduced a new line called Storm Arena, which you can see is significantly smaller than their standard Storm figures, and that also means they work right alongside Marvel Legends, and also the Jada Toys Street Fighter figures are in the same size as Storm Arena. Now, that being said, of course, Storm Arena is done by a different company, so there is some stylistic differences in how they sculpt their figures and how they do the joints and such, and Jada's also even bumped up their style. So we may mention that you have options, like you may want the Storm Arena version or the Jada Toys version, depending on the character, but they're all on the same scale now, so that's pretty nice to see. So when I put Punisher in the roster for the video last time, I thought it'd just be kind of a fun thing. I didn't expect to get a Capcom Punisher in the form of the Nick Fury and Punisher 2-pack. And this is pretty much spot on to how he looked in the game. It's intended to look like that, and they nailed it, and that's awesome to have. It's also a really nice Punisher body mold-wise if you're looking for a good one. And look at that, came in a 2-pack with Punisher, the exact same Nick Fury we were looking for to match up to this game. The playable characters are now complete. In terms of supporting cast, Microchip, we have no Marvel Legend for. Dum Dum Dugan also appears in the Shield pack, but not appears as how he shows up in the game. And Kathleen Neville has no Marvel Legends figure. In terms of villains, Bruno Costa, no Marvel Legend. Scully, no Marvel Legend. Jigsaw did get a Marvel Legend as a single pack at Walgreens. No Marvel Legend of the Guardroid, but we do have Pretty Boy, who came in an X-Men 5-pack, and Bonebreaker, who is an X-Men Wave Build-A-Figure. Bushwhacker just came out in a 2-pack with Punisher, so he's got a modern figure. And of course we have several Kingpins, with this retro card one being the most recent, though it's not an exact match color-wise to the one from the game. So overall, we do have the 2 playable characters, and we do have several of the enemies. Of course, there's some others that may get made if they make more Punisher Marvel Legends, which you never know. They might, considering Punisher's got his own Disney Plus special coming up, and he's in a Spider-Man movie. He's moving around, so you never know what might pop up in the future. But I think it's pretty fun that at the very least, we do have 2 game-specific figures, and those 2 game-specific figures are the main playable characters of the Punisher game. So for Wolverine, we have options now. We have, of course, the Gamerverse Marvel Legend, which I think is spectacular, matching the art style of not only the character art, but the sprite art. It even comes with a big old slash effect, which is very reminiscent of the games. But if that's not to your taste, there also will be an upcoming SH Figuarts release of Wolverine that looks a bit different and may fit what you want a little bit closer. But Wolverine, I think, is considered done for the rest of time because you got 2 options and they both look just like the games. No complaints from me. So for Psylocke, there's a brand new Psylocke with Thanos in a 2-pack for the Gamerverse Marvel Legends line. She even has the giant energy effects. This is a really solid figure that matches the game style quite well. So for Cyclops, Marvel Legends-wise, the X-Men 97 will still do ya, but there is an SH Figuarts Gamerverse Cyclops that matches the art style of the Capcom games. Really, really close, and that might work better depending on what type of collector you are. For Storm, the most recent one with this hairstyle and this costume is the retro card one, as the X-Men 97 has a different hairstyle than the more comic-styled one here. So this is going to be the most recent that will match the game. For Iceman, the most recent Marvel Legend is the Secret Wars retro card version, which is also the first one to have really cool effect parts for Iceman, and he's a crystal clear color, which I think matches decently to the Capcom version. The belt may not match exactly, but this is the closest we got at the moment. Colossus from the Colossus vs. Juggernaut 2-pack from the 80th anniversary line is going to be the closest match classic Colossus we can use here. For Spiral, the retro card version from the recent wave is definitely the best version to get, and probably the only version we're going to see of this character. For Silver Samurai, in a 2-pack with Wolverine, we got a Gamerverse edition, which looks like the games. They retooled his armor. They even gave him the giant shuriken effect, which is super, super cool, and that allows him to be more game-specific. Omega Red was released in a Gamerverse 2-pack with War Machine and is more game-specific with the shoulder pads and the harness and everything. It's really cool how much work they did on these figures, even when it seemed like they didn't have to do much but a repaint. Now we run into a complication with the Sentinel, because we've gotten several Sentinels from Hasbro, but none in the design that appears in the Capcom games. So until we do that, I don't count any Sentinel as being here for the game. So for Juggernaut, we have a Marvel Legends Gamerverse Mega Deluxe figure, which is absolutely massive. You'll see it in the combo shot in a moment, and that definitely works for Juggernaut for this game. There's been several Magnetos over the years. The X-Men 97 is the most recent of this version of the costume, and that will be the one I'll be using here. And then secret character Akuma, coming over from Street Fighter 2, will be getting a Jada Toys figure in the near future, and I'm looking forward to that release. So for X-Men Children of the Atom, our roster is nearly complete. With Akuma coming soon, we just need the Sentinel. And a game-specific Sentinel doesn't seem out of the realm of possibility anymore, because we have game-specific Wolverine, Psylocke, Juggernaut, Omega Red, and Silver Samurai. I feel like we could get a Sentinel, branded as Gamerverse whatever, and we would have this roster complete, which would be pretty fantastic. I think this is awesome. It's one of my favorite games in the series, so I'm really happy to see that we've got the roster pretty much filled out. Returning from a prior game, Wolverine, Psylocke, Juggernaut, and Magneto. Starting off new characters with Captain America, who was released in a Gamerverse 2-pack with Venom, and this is a very Marvel vs. Capcom inspired Cap. He's smoothed out. He even has the smaller shield mold, which would normally bug me, but in Marvel vs. Capcom he had a smaller shield, so it works appropriately. This is a really great figure and represents this version of the character quite well. So for Hulk, the most recent one is the Maximum Series, which I didn't pick up, so I'm going to still be using the 80th anniversary one. On neither of them, there isn't any matching hair to the version in the Capcom games, but at least we have a modern Hulk release out there. So for Spider-Man, if you want a Marvel Legend, the most recent is the Maximum Series figure, which is 90s inspired, so it works here. But there also will be the SH Figuarts Gamerverse one coming out in the future that is 100% the Capcom design, down to the proportions and everything. That SH Figuart will eventually be the one on my display for Marvel vs. Capcom, whereas this guy will be sticking with the comics. Iron Man is the easiest one to do because this is a Marvel vs. Capcom Iron Man. Yes, it is technically the animated Iron Man, but he comes with a proton cannon, he comes with that helmet, and he comes with effect parts that are Marvel vs. Capcom specific. I've talked about this figure in the past. It's kind of what started this whole like, oh, we are getting Marvel vs. Capcom stuff again. So Iron Man is this one. This is the one you want. For Blackheart, he recently had a Build-A-Figure, and that is the version we're going to use because the only one before this was a Toy Biz one from a long, long time ago. So for Shuma Gorath, we have the Marvel Legends Gamerverse, which isn't legally Marvel vs. Capcom, Gargantos, which isn't legally Shuma Gorath, but it's Shuma Gorath. The other thing to note, though, is that in Marvel Superheroes, he was pink by default, but the green color would be used for all future games, so the figure is based on the green color version. And that is pretty awesome to see. I'm surprised we even got him, but I'm very happy we did. Doctor Doom's another character who doesn't change his look that often. The most recent one was the Cabal 3-pack Doctor Doom, though he is a bit darker colored than he is in the games. There are some other lighter colored Dooms that might fit better, but we're just going to use this one for the sake of simplicity. For Thanos, we got a Gamerverse version in a 2-pack with Psylocke, and this matches the game design quite well, and I'm very happy to see that, because he's got the nice color tone that matches the games. The world is lacking in a lot of things, but 6-inch scale Darkstalkers is one of them, so we have no figures of Anita in this scale, or I don't even know if there's figures of Anita, period. She is a secret character in the game. She's not even supposed to be playable, but she does exist in the game, and you can play as her in the collection pretty easily, so we're including her, but we don't have any toys to represent her. So for all intents and purposes, the Marvel Superheroes roster is actually complete, because the only character we're missing is the secret character Anita, and since Anita was a test character, she wasn't actually supposed to be playable. Everybody that's playable and has roster screen additions is here, and I think that's pretty awesome. We did complete a roster. Shuma Gorath there was really our big holdout. And most of these are done in a very Capcom-specific style, which is awesome to see. And especially once we get like figure art Spider-Man in here, it's going to be really beautiful. But yeah, we actually have finished Marvel Superheroes for all the playable, non-test characters. And hey, if Storm Arena does a Donovan, they'll probably throw in an Anita as a pack-in, and then we'll be 100% complete. Returning from previous games, Cyclops, Wolverine, Storm, Juggernaut, Magneto, and Akuma. New characters include Gambit, who can be used with any 90s version. We're going to use the X-Men 97 version. It's the most recent release. And actually, I think his hair matches a lot of the art in the MVC series. And then for the better half of the power couple, Rogue, we're going to use any 90s Rogue, but specifically we're going to use the X-Men 97 one as it's the most recent. For Sabretooth, we've got the 2-pack version from the Wolverine 50th anniversary line. This is a really nice 90s Sabretooth, and it's a good fit for what we got here. Now, there are no figures of Birdie, who he does summon as part of his attack moves, but it may be someday. So on the Capcom side, we no longer have to cheat Ryu because we have a Storm Arena Alpha 3 Ryu, but there also will be a Jada Toys Alpha 3 Ryu if that's more your style. But we have two different options for an Alpha Ryu, which means the white bandana, the shorter hair, and the younger look for the game, which actually matches how he was in this game. Same story goes for Ken. We have the Storm Arena Alpha 3 version, and there's also going to be a Jada Toys Alpha 3 version. For Chun-Li, once again, the Jada Toys version is going to be just right what we need, especially because she does have a matching look here, which is great to see. For Zangief, we don't have a current 6-inch scale Zangief, but the Jada Toys version is coming in the future, and that should work quite nicely. For Dhalsim, Jada Toys figure, yet again, perfect match for what we need here. So for Charlie Nash, we have the Storm Arena version, which is coming up, as well as the Jada Toys version. So there will be two different Charlies out there. Pick and choose which style works best for you. And for Cammy, her Alpha 3 version will be made by Storm Arena first, as that has been shown. Jada Toys probably will do her as well. And then lastly, for M. Bison, he rarely changes looks, so the Jada figure is going to work perfectly in this instance. Now, the boss character of this game was Apocalypse, who wasn't designed to be playable, but is in some versions of the game. If you want a normal-sized one, there was the Build-A-Figure, or you could do the retro card version, which might match a little closer. But since he does turn into a giant almost immediately in that boss fight, the upcoming made-to-order X-Men 97 Apocalypse, which is giant-sized, might work better. So assuming that Jada and Storm follow through on their plans for figures, the X-Men vs. Street Fighter roster is 100% complete. We have, of course, multiple figures of Apocalypse, and so there's no other secret characters, there's no other mystery characters. As long as we get those alpha versions of those characters and the Street Fighter 2 versions of the characters that, match appropriately, the Street Fighter side will be filled out and we'll be good. Because yes, the Marvel side is complete at this time. This is pretty exciting. This is another roster that's near completion. We just need those other figures to come out first. Returning from previous games, Captain America, Cyclops, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Hulk, Blackheart, Omega Red, Shuma Gorath, Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Dhalsim, Zangief, M. Bison, and Akuma. Plus boss character Apocalypse. For Dan, we have the upcoming Storm Arena version for his alpha appearance. And for Sakura, we don't have a current figure, but there was an SH figure art from a few years ago that will do the job. Exclusive to the Japanese version, Norimaru is a Japanese comedian. I think we'll never see an action figure of him, and if we do, it will be something weird and wacky. Kicking off new characters is secret character US Agent. He's just a recolor Captain America in the game, but this is the Marvel Legends Controller Wave release of the character, which will do the job. Secret character Armored Spider-Man will, of course, be represented by this retro card wave Armored Spider-Man. This is the design it's inspired by, even if in the game it's just a straight recolor of Spider-Man. Secret character Mephisto, which is just a red black heart. Maybe we'll see it someday, maybe we won't. Secret character Cyber Akuma, not as likely. I'm not exactly sure if Capcom wants a figure of this character out there, but it would be super cool to see. Secret character Dark Sakura, secret character Mecha Zangief, and secret character Shadow. Maybe. It's very stretching to even think that we might get those. So Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter is the roster I think is least likely to be 100% complete because of Norimaru, Japanese comedian. Some of the other characters, like maybe they'll repaint Blackheart into Mephisto, maybe they'll do Dark Sakura, who knows? But it just seems kind of unlikely. Cyber Akuma as well. So this one's always going to have gaps. But of the core roster that's not secret characters and not region-specific characters, I mean, we got Dan, and there is a Sakura figure art, and we're probably going to get Sakura in both Jada and Storm, so the base roster, at least, can be complete, and that's pretty cool. Returning from prior games, Captain America, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Gambit, Hulk, Chun-Li, and Zangief. So for War Machine, we have two different figures. One, which is from the Gamerverse 2-pack with Omega Red, is based on the profile art for War Machine, whereas another, which was a single-release fan channel Marvel Legend, which was based on the sprite being a recolored Iron Man. So depending on which War Machine you want, you got that going. Also, the Gamerverse one has a shoulder cannon, which is a unique move piece for him, though I can't figure out how to put this onto that. We finally have the famous Blue Venom in a 2-pack with Captain America in the Gamerverse line, and this is a Blue Venom. There's really nothing else to it, and that's all he needed to be, and he's perfect. For this game, Ryu's sprite was recolored to look like a Street Fighter II counterpart, so the Jada Toys Street Fighter II version will match perfectly. For Morrigan, the upcoming Storm Arena figure will be a perfect match for this, and hopefully lead us to more Darkstalkers. Jin also lacks any 6-inch figures, or hardly any figures in general. Captain Commando had a recent figure by 52 Toys, but that was 3 3/4 inch as opposed to 6-inch. Classic Mega Man has a lot of options. We have the Jada Toys that might be a little small, the COTA Bukiya kit that's probably too big. There's a Sentinel figure that's smaller than the COTA Bukiya. There's a 3-0 smaller than that. So there's plenty of options for Mega Man. The only one that's going to have Rush, who follows Mega Man around in the game, is the Jada Toys version. Also, for scale purposes, there is kind of your standard size dude. I think the Jada Toys is perfectly fine for working with this, even if it's not exactly the same art style as Marvel vs. Capcom. Despite Strider Hiryu being a really cool character, no 6-inch figures. For roll, you could probably use the COTA Bukiya kit. Once again, scaling may be an issue, and Jada Toys hopefully will do roll in the future. The secret character, Orange Hulk, probably not getting a figure, but this is one of the secret recolors, which is a separate character slot. Hyper Armor War Machine, he is a gold version of War Machine. Probably also not getting a figure. Same with High Speed Venom. All three of these characters are secret recolor characters. I don't know if we'll ever see figures of them. Secret character Shadow Lady, maybe it's kind of another weird repaint. The Morrigan recolored as Lilith might happen, but there is a specific Lilith coming out in Storm Arena, which is pretty awesome. Now for the big final boss of the game, we have Onslaught. Now Onslaught has had a couple figures. The most recent one for Onslaught's first form was the Hasbro Build-A-Figure. It was originally sold with a red skull head, but the actual Onslaught head came with Kitty Pryde. If you want the second form of Onslaught, you're going to have to go back all the way to 2007 with the Toy Biz Build-A-Figure. So there are both forms of Onslaught out there. None of them are recent, though. Okay, so Marvel vs. Capcom, not including the assist characters. I didn't do it last time. I'm not doing it this time either. There's just too many of them, and a bunch of them will never get toys. This is complete on the Marvel side. I think we got everybody on the Marvel side minus the secret characters, which are recolors. Yeah, I don't know. Orange Venom's possible. He made it to Marvel Rivals. But the thing with these is that, we got the Marvel side covered on the unique character side. Capcom side, as you can see, is incredibly lean. The biggest hiccups are going to be Jin and Captain Commando and Strider Hiryu. Because we're getting Morrigan, we'll probably get a role in the Jada line. Like, those are covered, but these lesser-known Capcom characters are going to be the biggest hiccups to completing the roster.
I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride.
Returning from prior games, Captain America, Cyclops, Wolverine Adamantium Claws, Spider-Man, Hulk, Iron Man, War Machine, Iceman, Gambit, Rogue, though she did have a different default color scheme, Colossus, Psylocke, Storm, Silver Samurai, Sabretooth, Juggernaut, Shuma Gorath, Spiral, Blackheart, Venom, Sentinel, Doctor Doom, Omega Red, Thanos, Magneto, Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Dulcim, Zangief, Charlie, Dan, Sakura, Cammy, M. Bison, Akuma, Jin, Strider Hiryu, Morrigan, Mega Man, Roll, and Captain Commando. For new characters on the Marvel side, we got Cable. This was in the Zabu wave, and he has been reissued, so hopefully he's a lot easier to get. And we got Marrow, who was in the Nemesis Build-A-Figure wave, and she is rounding out our Marvel team pretty nicely. We did get a Bone Claws Wolverine in the Love Triangle 3-pack, though I now want to redo because of the new Wolverine mold that's more gamer-specific. For the game's original characters, Ruby Heart, Amingo, and Son Son, I would have said never in a chance. But everything that's been going on lately with this brand, maybe there is a chance. That'd be really cool to see figures of them. The Jada Toy Street Fighter 2 Guile is a perfect fit. Jill from Resident Evil has other figures, but not one in a 6-inch scale. Hayato feels unlikely to get a figure. Tronbon also seems unlikely to get a figure, but if she does, a Servbot would be a great pack-in. And as the world continues to lack Darkstalkers figures, BB Hood, Felicia, and Anakaris. There was a lot of gaps on the Capcom side. And then the non-playable boss character Abyss in his multiple forms, no figures, but never say never, I guess. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the foreseeable future will still have a lot of gaps. The Marvel side would be done if we had the Sentinel. If we just could get Sentinel, the Marvel side of MVC2's massive 56 character roster would be done. The Capcom side is just gonna have a huge gaps, even when we fill in all the Street Fighter gaps. There's all those other franchises that just don't have figures in the scale. But maybe the energy and the momentum and the hype about Marvel vs. Capcom again will lead to some companies wanting to take a risk on somebody like Captain Commando or do a Jill for that specific look. We shall see in the future. But as of now, this is a huge display, and I really took a long time to set this up. So enjoy all the characters in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 that we have in 6-inch scale as of time of recording. So that is your 2025 update on Marvel vs. Capcom action figures in 6-inch scale. This was really fun to put together and to update, and I hope you did enjoy it too. There's a lot of cool things that are being added to these lines, and we'll probably have to do an update in a year because with the rate we've been going, there's gonna be a lot to talk about. I didn't even include some other like smaller figure releases, like the weird clothing brand collabs that are alternate color versions. Left those out because I didn't feel like they were super relevant, but there is a lot going on, and I'm very excited to see what will happen in the future. If you're also excited, be sure to hit subscribe and the notification bell if you haven't already. Hit the like button while you're down there to tell me you enjoyed the video. Leave any comments, things I messed up, things I screwed up, figures I forgot about. Appreciate those comments last time. I took them into effect on this video, so always leave comments down below. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can join our Discord server in the link below. Come hang out, part of our community. If you so wish to keep up with things on the channel and get early access, you can join as a channel member with perks like early access and member-exclusive shoutouts. Let's give some special shoutouts to our channel members. Special shout out to all our channel members, including Captain 2, Spindash 54, Masterman 95, Forever 1000, Super Shadox Boom, Veloquence, Rogue Leader 2448, Mr. Smelly Potato, Archive, Rivers, Common Pikachu, Jamie's World, Showbiz NCNA, EkM, Basil Expedition, Blade, Kyle Birdwell, Alice James, Joe's 9789, Fernando Pereira, Levante Jackson, Adrian Montanez, Gobro Fam, C. Hoffman, B. Tub, Killer Noctokusatsu, Amananiqua Do Tempo, Justin Giovanni, and Sonic Doctor. Thank you all for your support of this channel, members and viewers alike. If you so wish, I'm on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. You can also find my wonderful graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643. And you can find Hero Club at hero-club.com for entertainment news and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, I'm gonna take you for a ride.